I saw what I saw!
I saw what I saw, but no one believes me.
Many of us chase magic as children, and perhaps we did so until the weight of the world and its limitations set in. But how many of us have had the magic come to us? Imagine making it your mission to reveal the mystery behind the magic while the world watches and waits for your discoveries to come in. This is Jerry and John Tedescoe's story. Welcome to Nightcrawler.
John and Jerry, the Tedescoe brothers.
We had a strong interest in everything from exotic phenomena to paranormal phenomena since we were kids. And that interest, it went away for a little while as we focused on our careers. I think originally we had our focus was on conducting electromagnetic surveys on the Long Island from coast to coast using a remote vehicle that we could basically look at these emission sources, whether it's radio frequency or power lines or whatnot that's producing this EMI, and try to see if there's a link basically to cancer clusters that have been recorded throughout the island. But of course that shift coming about, of course, after ODNI report and Avi Loeb's Galileo project, which we joined as affiliates. Our platform was ready to go. A huge investment, big commitment, not just for the research itself, but with the families and getting, of course, certain approvals. What I had done is I basically liquidated my 401 at that point. And of course I was contributing where I could, and of course we were both doing the full design and from concept to design to construction of the first Nightcrawler system. Right. We had a strong interest in everything from exotic phenomena to paranormal since we were kids.
Childhood, the slug-bug encounter.
I believe we're at 7 years old at the time, mid to late 70s. We had interest in UFOs. There was a lot of programs on TV at the time, in search of, and a lot of books written on this stuff, Chariots of the Gods. And we had an interest in that. I remember reading as a kid, just being fascinated by the book. We had a visitor, and this guy just showed up at the door. He wore a fedora hat, a dark suit. With his suitcase. Right. It was kind of a little bit of a foggy night. Myself and my 3 other brothers that were quite captivated by this individual. A neighbor was staying with us. She had let him in. Yeah, she was watching us at the time. She was much older. He was quite captivated. He came into the living room, sat on the recliner, and just went off with these stories of talking about UAPs, UFOs at the time, future events. He had brought some publications, some materials with it in his suitcase on the future events as well, and UFOs and Edgar Cayce, psychic prophecies, future prophecies. He seemed to be very, I would say, experienced in this field. He was very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable about certain events, and of course the space program and stuff like that. And he had looked at us individually, and I remember he was making comments about us. At someday doing research of our own and being, technologists of some kind, engineers or technicians or what. It was just like, it's very mesmerizing. None of us could remember what he looked like. That's the interesting thing. There was no memorable attributes about the guy. Any facial features or anything like that. The other strange thing is his suitcase. He had nothing to do with exterminating. It was just all materials to do with with psychic phenomena and UFOs and that kind of thing. And the interesting thing is when he finally left, he walked out, and we don't remember him having a car or anything like that he drove away in. He just kind of walked out the door and disappeared. I remember mentioning some parts of it to my parents. They just thought he was a very strange character, and they were concerned. They actually called the police and tried to track him down and see if they had the police look for an exterminating company called Slug-a-Bug, which never existed at that time.
None existed.
You know, and nobody knew who he was.
Encounter at Robert Moses State Park.
So within an hour of getting most of the equipment set up, John and I had noticed we have a central monitor inside the RV that's visually, it could view the environment in both visible optical range, IR range. And we were seeing these bright objects on the central monitor, 3 of them. They looked like they were in a scalene triangular formation. And it was sitting fixed right in front of us offshore. And it looked like they were hovering above the ocean. So we were fascinated by it. John and I quickly grabbed some portable pieces of equipment, a lunar optics IR system, and I grabbed what's called the Aurora Black psionic system. And we both headed towards the beach line, and while the other 2 researchers were setting up the rest of the equipment.
Right. So this involves the RV was parked in a parking field next to the beach, and roughly there's a path down to the beach. It's about 110 meters from where the RV was parked, the mobile laboratory. So we made our way down the beach with the 2 optical systems, and we noticed that on one of them that had a plastic enclosure, that the noise levels became increasingly more and more accentuated. We had you could hear it in the sounds. You could see the white noise in the imagery. Almost as though that there was some kind of EMI interference affecting the camera.
And this became worse as closer that I was carrying that camera. It got worse as I got closer to the water, the shoreline where we were seeing these objects, which was roughly maybe 1,000 feet out.
Once we had made it to the end of the shoreline where the waves were basically pressing on the beach, we zoomed in on this object. And I decided to put on there's a infrared illuminator, an infrared emitter that has a beam spot target size. And what I did is I moved my camera, my lunar optics, back and forth over the target to see if I could illuminate it and to get an idea how far this object might be from us. So I was surprised to see that we were able to illuminate it. So I knew that it couldn't have been any more than 1,600 feet. Just then, we could see this triangular pattern of lights. There was another object that seemed to drop from the cloud layer and move in front of this triangular formation. And I had taken my lunar optics and moved the camera. Around the 6th or 7th time of doing this, I noticed that there was a glinting on this object, a very defined geometric pattern to it, almost like a cube or a square or rectangle of reflected light. So after the 7th time, it suddenly stopped rotating or glinting, and it was a fixed pattern of light. And I noticed that very quickly, within less than 3 seconds, that object had moved into the shoreline, and I could see the size of it just move in on us very, very quickly. And the intensity of that IR energy actually overloaded the cameras. And when I pulled the optics away from my eyes, I couldn't see anything. It was just regular night sky. There was no light. There was no source of light. Only in the camera itself, illuminated IR energy of some sort.
At that point, when it was approaching, we were getting panicky at that time because this thing was moving rapidly towards the shoreline.
Very quick.
And I didn't see it right away. My camera had a lot of electromagnetic interference. As it came close to the shoreline, I noticed a blue pattern of light And I wasn't sure if it was something under the water or if it was something above the water shining light down.
Just then, I turned to my brother. I said, let's move away from the shoreline. I said, this thing's on top of us. It's here. And as I said that, I lost all muscle tone in my leg. I couldn't coordinate my legs. I fell to the sand. I couldn't get myself back up. And my brother had started walking off, get away from the shoreline. And he came back and he said, "What's the matter?" I said, I can't move my legs. I can't coordinate. He tried to help me up, and he collapsed.
The same kind of effects. It was from the waist down, no muscle tone in the legs. Like John said, couldn't coordinate the legs to get under you to pick yourself up. At that point, I had swung the camera out towards the water, and what the camera picked up was this wave of light from the braid of the sand expanding upward. It was all infrared light. It wasn't visible.
This paralysis lasted about 45 seconds. Once we had regained our coordination to get back up, we were able to make our way to our feet and head back over to the RV. And the light seemed to follow us to some extent. We had gotten back to the RV. We had informed the other members of the team. There's 2 other people that we saw something out there and this experience. And we told them to get their cameras, night vision equipment, and the 4 of us headed right back down to the shore again. We realized that this light was out there for a total of about 45 minutes. But during that time, we had gotten back out down there. We had a visible torch. And as I moved the visible torch across the field of view, hit the objects, I got reflected light back. And at that point, everybody could see them. So, they went from an invisible state to visibility because of the reflected light coming back off the torch.
This wasn't the triangle formation itself. This was a separate light that had dropped from the sky that one of our researchers named Donna had noticed. And then we focused our cameras on it. It moved from it dropped to the right field of view of the object and started moving eastward towards the left field of view in front of the triangular formation of objects. And like John said, it was starting to move closer to the shoreline and then back off. And it was like almost, it was
so quick that it was almost like a ping pong.
Yeah, you didn't see motion. It was just here, and then it was a little further distance out, and that's how you noticed it.
Right. It kept changing size, and we could see that there was some kind of motion back and forth very quickly. The object also dipped below the water. It didn't seem to cause any disturbance. We watched this for a period of time, reflecting light of it. We got night vision camera footage of it from 4 different cameras.
At times it looked like a single object, and at times it appeared like 2 objects.
Split into 2 objects.
Yeah, it was very strange.
When we were down there, just before this object just completely disappeared, Gerald noticed that there was a very bright, intense IR energy coming back in off the sand, roughly about 3 feet from where we were standing. We realized that this source of light, was a small krill and a shrimp.
It looked like 2 bright flashlights were being shined at you. That's how much light was being lit up, which was astonishing.
Because you couldn't see with your eyes. It was just in the night vision cameras. As we were focused on that, we had a Geiger counter with us. There was nothing hot there that we were concerned about. We picked up the samples and brought it back to the RV. But as we turned and looked back at the triangle suddenly just disappeared. We could see that it was no longer on the surface of the ocean, and you could see a red flash of light going up to the sky very, very quickly. So we had brought those crustaceans back and noticed that after about 30 to 35 minutes, they simply didn't emit any more infrared energy.
Yeah, they just started to dim down. And the interesting thing is we have a little biolab. On examination, both crustaceans had large openings in their thorax, their chest cavities. It looked to me like there was some kind of thermal expansion on the insides and heating that caused the insides to blow out. We were still in shock. I mean, it took several days, probably a couple of weeks, to settle in. Even in the nights, the couple of nights after that, neither one of us could sleep very well. It was almost a kind of ontological shock.
Once we had gotten over that and realized the scope of this experience, I mean, even today, we just can't completely wrap our heads around it. You know?
Yeah, we watched those videos what the camera recorded many times. We were still trying to blame the equipment for creating some artifacts, and John took the equipment apart. We did a full failure analysis of the equipment he did, right. And nothing wrong with the equipment except that the equipment was altered. Some of the
there was corrupted memory locations, and I realized that going through this process of looking at the optics and the iris motor and so forth, I realized that there was some changes that took place. So stuff like that I used to see as a service technician out in the field after an electrical storm. And so what I'm assuming is that there was some kind of electrostatic field or an electromagnetic field that was strong enough to corrupt these settings within the camera equipment.
Also, interestingly, is the camera was working intermittently on cameras, and they did record this event that was happening. When we had that paralysis for 45 seconds, the equipment would seem to be manipulated. The camera itself, especially John's camera, it was you saw these spaghetti streamers of light inside the video. You saw these a sphere of light that moved outside the field of view, and all these weird flashes of light within the optics of the camera. The other thing is, it also heard mechanical sounds of the clicking of some of the moving parts of the camera.
So, I mean, there are definitely some oddities to the experience and the event itself,
Post-encounter analysis.
Well, we had these 3 big data points. Well, 4 data points. We had the hyperspectral camera views of the event as it was happening. We had the bioeffects that we experienced. We had the bioeffects of the 2 crustaceans, and then we had the electromechanical effects of the camera itself. All put together, those. That's hard to explain away. Everything from NHI to some kind of breakaway society that developed this highly advanced technology.
Like Joel said, everything's on the table.
Yeah.
But it certainly opens you up to NHI very easily, mm-hmm. And to the go-to people, the people that are in the know, it's been referred to as magic. It's like.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that we actually had a conversation with Lou Elizondo. He was at the first Harvard conference, which we were at. We had a conversation with him outside the building, and we told him some of the things initially what we were seeing, and we asked him about what was the objects that were seen on the 2 coastlines by the naval pilots, and his response was, "It's pure fucking magic."
Thanks to Jerry and John Tedescoe for sharing their time and story. If you'd like to learn more about their research and adventures with their mobile Skywatch platform, Nightcrawler, you can visit their website at www.nightcrawlereyonthesky.org. Also, big thanks to Small Stone Records for use of the killer track Alter by Errata. You can learn more about Errata by visiting the music page on our website at 2earts.com/music. If you'd like to learn more about each episode and about what's coming up, you can visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/2earts or visit our website at 2earts.com. Okay, that's a wrap, folks. Stay true in the meantime, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Dragon Spread.